What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Planet Rell. We have Thor, the Annual, written by Collin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, and also a sneak peek at the upcoming Immortal Thor. Who is Mythos? Let's get into the story and find out. So we start here off, and we see Sif looking out, and we see broken shards of the Bifrost, and Thor is speaking too. And he's saying that lately all he has seen is the faith that people have in him. And now Sif's eyes start to bleed. And I'm like, what's going on? And Thor continues to speak. And he talks about his past trials and what the people see. And all they see is an All-Father. Now the different pieces of the Bifrost are starting to come together and to form something. And now whatever has been bothering Sif, it got worse because now she's scratching at her face. And Thor says all they see is a worthy successor to surpass his father and to be a guardian of Asgard, born and worthy of the throne. Now we see the many pieces and shards of the Bifrost form some type of golden cocoon. And Thor says that as the Watcher's eyes bleed and as the sky begins to fall, all of the 10 realms scream in agony. And as he sits on his grandfather's ancient throne, he sees an unrecognizable world tree that is twisted by an unknown and terrible power. And now we catch our first glimpse at Thor, and he says that he does not see an All-Father. All he sees is Thor as he takes off flying. And as he travels, we catch glimpses at different realms. So the first realm we see is the realm of heaven. And Thor is saying, only Sif saw this attack coming, and she can only manage one word for a warning: Mythos. Now we see Loki in Jotunheim and some deceased frost giants. And in Alfheim, we see the Light Elves. And Thor says he doesn't know what Sif saw, but he knows that it is something powerful changing the world tree. And as we come across Muspelheim, Thor says the shattered pieces of the Bifrost have been turned into an engine of conquest. Now we come across these two realms. I want to say it's Nidavellir and Vanaheim. Thor says he can't save anything and that he has no allies right now. And as evil rejoices in Svartalfheim with the Dark Elves, the dead wait and prepare in Niflheim with Hela. And now we see that Thor has been traveling to Earth, and he's been flying by instinct there. And as he crashes down on Earth, he says the realm of the Avengers will be able to withstand the power of this Mythos. Now he listens out for Jane, Runa, Captain America and Iron Man, Black Widow, and Doctor Strange. And all he hears is silence, and that is a fatal wound to Thor. And now we see Thor overlooking a golden dome which looks like all of the shards from the Bifrost, and it looks like it's guarded by several destroyers. Now we see somebody looking up and they see Thor flying towards that golden dome. And Thor says this realm is changed beyond imagination. And as Thor charges forward, he wonders if his father would do the same thing. And then he pushes that thought from his mind and turns it into a fish. And he bursts himself through the golden dome, just knocking 2 destroyers out the way. And now somebody is talking to Thor, and he's talking trash to him, calling Thor the All-Father of nothing. I would have smacked him, bro. Like, who is Buddy talking to? Now this person calls himself the Master of Yggdrasil, a tyrant of humanity, and an omnipotent savior. And this person likes a good acronym. And for the first time we see Mythos. Now Thor realizes it's MODOK. And he like, bro, what kind of trickery is this? And MODOK says it isn't trickery, but instead his cleverness. Now hold on, let's slow down a bit. MODOK called Thor a child of infinite privilege. Like, he talking his trash right now, bruh. Now MODOK is saying he's only been a pawn for service, killing, and control. And now that the Bifrost was shattered, he collected it and he mastered it. That's how he became Mythos. Now for those who are wondering how the Bifrost was shattered, it happened during Banner of War, during Kate's Thor and Hulk run, when they had a crossover, and Thor and Hulk fought each other. And there was a part where Thor became hulked out. And Sif tried to use the Bifrost to bring her back to Asgard, and Thor resisted it so hard that the Bifrost just shattered. He literally broke the Bifrost. You know how powerful you have to be to break the Bifrost? Let alone resist it, but break it. Thor's power is incomprehensible. Okay, now back to the story. MODOK has banished freedom, and he's wiped away all the memories of the heroes. And now that he is in control of all of the realms, he says he deserves it. But Thor counters that and says annihilation is the only thing that he deserves. And he rages and attacks MODOK. But come to find out, it doesn't work. And MODOK says Thor is throwing a tantrum, and he tells him to go to his room, and he blasts Thor away. Now as Thor hits the ground, he hears his father's voice in his head telling him to retreat, and he knows that his father will not fight a battle that he knew that he couldn't win. So now Thor tells himself that it is wise and not cowardly to go retreat, but he still has doubts. So now we cut to this part. This man just got stole on, and he was helping other people that were about to get robbed. Then Thor appears, and he tells the robber to leave. And that boy ain't want no smoke. He got up rude. He said, I'm up out of here. And Thor says he knows the man that was helping the people that were getting robbed. And bro, like, you do? And this man tells him that he's probably seen him somewhere before. And Thor tells him that he's one of Sif's favorites. And Thor questions him again, like, bro, you really don't know me? But the man still doesn't know. So Thor's like, I guess that man was right. MODOK erasing all the memories of the heroes. Okay, so it took me 2 guesses to figure out who this person was. And it turns out that this man is Peter Parker, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And now Thor says he sought out a champion in this realm who remains, since he couldn't find out where his friends was. And Peter like, you got the wrong guy. Thor like, nah bro, I ain't wrong about that. So now they both pull up to Peter's crib, and then Peter starts to tell Thor about how the city is ran, and people don't say the Great One's name, quote unquote Mythos. Then he starts to tell Thor about how people can move up in this scene, like basically level up and be able to do palace stuff. And now Thor mentions that the only way to escape this place is by not causing trouble. And he also brings up to Peter about how he helped the man outside, and how helping them isn't causing trouble. And Peter says it's hard to watch people suffer when you can help them. And Peter feels that he has a responsibility to help them. And Thor asks him, even in failure? And Peter responds, especially in failure. And he tells Thor that the most important battles to fight are the ones you can't win. Now Thor tells Peter that he ain't finna remember this, but the next time they meet, he can visit the hot springs in the realm of heaven. And as Peter starts to respond, Thor just takes off. And he's ready to finish his fight with Mythos. Now I ain't gonna lie, MODOK's dialogue in here was crazy for real. He said it was never a fight, but instead a banishment. That's crazy. Now he just shoots a blast at Thor. Behold the mastery of the 10 realms. That's crazy. Now as Thor is still falling back from that blast, he quotes Peter on what he said earlier, that the most important battles that you fight are the ones you can't win. And he says his father wouldn't understand. And he shoots out into the sky, flying back to fight Mythos. Now during this entire next sequence, Thor is having an inner dialogue with himself as the action happens. Now Thor says the All-Father power may have been stolen as he gets blasted away. And as he lands, as the throne may have been seized. Then you see Thor shoots himself back in the sky, flying back towards Mythos, and he gets blasted back again. And he says the World Tree may have been taken by evil, but he hits the ground hard again, but he shoots himself back up, saying the belief in himself. And now we see Thor getting knocked back down, shooting himself back up to get blasted back again, consecutively. He keeps getting up to go back and defeat Mythos, but he keeps getting knocked down, but he keeps going back to fight even more. And he says, the belief in himself is his power alone. And now Thor continues his dialogue. He said he has the power to keep standing and fighting in the power of his heart, in the power of Thor. Now Thor just obliterates one of Mythos' arms. And Mythos tells Thor to unhand him. And he should have never said that because Thor just knocks off the other arm. Then Mythos says he gonna ravish Thor from history. And Thor like, nah, you not, bro. Now Thor punches Mythos in the face with his own arm. And he tells Mythos to give up the power that he stole. And he tells Mythos to kneel. Then Thor takes Mjolnir and strikes him. Now Mythos has been turned back into MODOK. I just want to stop and pause real quick and say that Thor just beat a reality warper within a couple hits. Because he's him. Now everything starts to change back to what it naturally was. Now Thor is talking trash to MODOK. He calls him a twisted husk and that this world was never his. That he was just a god of broken mirrors. Now MODOK starts to cuss at Thor and stuff. And he says a god of the broken is still a god. Cap. Now Thor tells MODOK that he's brave to spit in the eye of his executioner. And now MODOK just riles up Thor, telling him to bring down his hammer and to show him the justice of the Allfather. And boom. The dummy asks for it. And now Thor is traveling back. And he said the world tree is quick to heal. And as he passes the angels in heaven, and Loki in Jotunheim, and he says there's a thrum from the world tree that thanks him. Now Thor passes by a few more realms. He says if he is truly to be Allfather, these are his rewards, and it's the joy that knowing wrongs have been righted, and that people are safer today than they were yesterday, and including those who are against him. Now we see MODOK crying like a little punk, and Sif tells Thor that she's healing, and that the world tree is back to normal. And she also mentions how Odin would have deleted MODOK, but Thor had other plans for him. And now Thor tells Sif that he gave MODOK a gift that he did not know he needed, and that he was designed for a lot of things, but never to question things. And Thor hopes that MODOK can see himself as he is, and find the answers that were lost to him. Now as we close out the annual, going into the Immortal Thor prologue, Thor says the answers that he has been wanting for himself have been found. Now let's get into this Immortal Thor prologue. I know y'all been waiting for this. So we're starting out here in Asgard and we still see broken shards of the Bifrost. And there's a question, would you know more? And there's Sif overlooking everything. And Thor approaches her, asking her how is her vigil going. She says it goes, and she says that the Bifrost must remain guarded. She turns around wondering if she should be worried. Then we see Thor in his classic outfit. And Thor needed to reassure his people that even though he may be king, at the end of the day, he's still Thor, and he won't deny either role. And Sif says to Thor that it's been a while since Mjolnir seems light, since Thor did have trouble wielding Mjolnir back during Kate's run. And Thor says Mjolnir has become a part of him now, and that it deserves a new beginning. And now Thor uses his Allfather power to reforge, to remake, and to have reborn Mjolnir. Now as Thor turns back the wheel of fate, Sif wonders if it is wise to do that. And Thor responds by saying the wheel of fate can sometimes turn all the way around, and that the wheel of fate can bring us home. Now in a land far away, those words became a dark thunder. And it's revealed that we now see another version of Thor, and he's wielding both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. And he also has on the Belt of Strength. Now when I was reading it, when I saw Stormbreaker, I thought of Ultimate Thor immediately. Now this can be another universe of Thor, or it can be an alliance of Thor, or it could be a time paradox that the 616 Thor is in. That's just one of my thoughts though, don't take that with a grain of salt. Now let's see a couple times where Thor used the Belt of Strength. The first appearance of the Belt of Strength was in Journey into Mystery, issue 91. And Odin gave the Belt of Strength to the Valkyries to give to Thor so he could defeat Loki and Sandu. Now, in a recent showing of the Belt of Strength was in issue 24 of Donny Cates' run of Thor. Thor had the Belt of Strength fighting Mangog. Now, in issue 363, written by Walter Simonson, Thor used the Belt of Strength to fight Curse. And also written by Walter Simonson, issue 365, The Origin of Throg, we see once again the Belt of Strength. Lastly, here in issue 388, written by Tom DeFalco, Thor uses the Belt of Strength to fight the Celestials. And now this story will be continued in the Immortal Thor, issue 1, written by Al Ewing and art by Martín Cóccolo. Alright y'all, that was the Thor Annual and the Immortal Thor prologue. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, like and subscribe. See y'all soon, man. Y'all have a great day and God bless.